Donald Trump recently ignited debate when he expressed interest in purchasing Greenland, reclaiming the Panama Canal, and annexing parts of Canada. These proposals, while certainly unconventional, raise fascinating questions about sovereignty, self-determination, and the norms underpinning international relations. But what do these proposals entail, and what can international relations teach us about their implications? Hey everyone, I'm Noah Zerbe. I'm a professor of global politics at California State Polytechnic University Humboldt. Welcome to Global Insights, where we delve into international relations to better understand the world we share. To understand the current controversy, we first need to explore the idea of sovereignty, a cornerstone of the international system. At its root, sovereignty means that a state has ultimate decision-making authority over its territory and the people within it. This principle, rooted in the 1648 Peace of Westphalia and the 1933 Montevideo Convention, has evolved over time to become one of the foundational norms of modern international relations. Sovereignty protects a state from external interference. At least in theory, it ensures that no other country can dictate how it governs or what decisions it makes within its territory. Trump's proposals directly challenge this principle, whether by suggesting the purchase of Greenland, revisiting Panama's control over its canal, or claiming parts of Canada. While the concept of sovereignty may seem straightforward, it's actually quite dynamic. States may voluntarily cede aspects of their sovereignty, for example, through treaties or membership in international organizations, but they rarely relinquish it entirely. And that's where Trump's ideas hit a roadblock. We begin with Greenland, a vast Arctic territory under Denmark's sovereignty. With a population of about 56,000, Greenland has significant autonomy, managing its own domestic affairs, while Denmark retains control over foreign policy and defense. Greenland's strategic importance has grown in recent years due to climate change. As Arctic ice melts, new shipping routes are emerging, and previously inaccessible natural resources, including rare earth minerals, oil, and natural gas, are becoming more viable for extraction. This makes Greenland a valuable asset on the geopolitical chessboard. Trump's proposal to purchase Greenland isn't entirely without precedent. The United States bought Alaska from Russia in 1867 and tried unsuccessfully to purchase Greenland in the 1940s under President Truman. But the global context has shifted since then. In today's world, the idea of buying territory outright clashes with modern norms of sovereignty and self-determination. Indeed, the last major purchase of territory by one state from another was arguably the Gwadar Purchase of 1958, when Pakistan purchased more than 15,000 square kilometers from Oman. Thus, while territorial sales were relatively common in the 19th century, they've become increasingly rare in the modern era. And Greenlanders themselves have expressed little interest in being part of the United States. Indeed, their growing push for full independence from Denmark underscores the principle of self-determination, which allows a people to decide their own political status and governance. In February 2024, the territory's government officially declared that its goal was to achieve full independence from Denmark, and in January 2025, Greenland's Prime Minister Mute Egede said that work had already begun on creating the framework for Greenland as an independent state, hinting that a referendum on independence could take place in April alongside general elections. It seems unlikely that Greenlanders would push so hard to increase their own autonomy and independence from Greenland only to seek to join the United States, and any attempt to bypass their consent would violate international law and norms, potentially triggering global condemnation. The Panama Canal offers another perspective. Built in the early 20th century by the United States, the canal was seen as a symbol of American engineering prowess and strategic dominance, especially of the Western Hemisphere. However, the United States relinquished control of the Panama Canal to Panama in 1999 under the Territorial treaties. These treaties represented a landmark moment for Panamanian sovereignty. They ended decades of colonial-style oversight, affirming Panama's right to control its own territory and resources. Attempting to reverse this arrangement would not only violate Panama's sovereignty and these treaties, but would also undermine decades of diplomatic progress. The canal remains vital for international shipping, though, making it a tempting strategic asset. However, reclaiming it would ignore binding international agreements and could potentially destabilize U.S.-Latin American relations. The reputational damage to the United States would be significant, especially as it would appear to flout the very norms the United States often publicly promotes. Finally, let's consider the notion of annexing parts of Canada. Canada and the United States share the world's largest undefended border and enjoy one of the closest bilateral relationships globally. Despite this, the idea of annexation is an affront to Canadian sovereignty and would likely meet fierce resistance. Canada is not only a sovereign country, but also a member of international organizations like the United Nations and NATO. The international community would unequivocally oppose any attempt to alter borders without its consent. Furthermore, the strong economic and cultural ties between Canada and the United States are built on mutual respect and not territorial ambition. Undermining that foundation could damage the credibility of the United States in the global arena. Now let's zoom out and consider the bigger picture, international norms. Norms are the unwritten rules that govern state behavior. They're the shared expectations about acceptable behavior and help create stability by guiding how states interact. The modern norm against territorial acquisition is rooted in the horrors of the 20th century, particularly global conflicts and colonization that destabilized entire regions. Today, the principle of territorial integrity is central to global stability. Violating it risks conflict, as we saw with Russia's annexation of Crimea in 2014. The international response to that act, sanctions, isolation, and condemnation, demonstrates how seriously the global community generally takes these norms. Trump's proposals, while unlikely to materialize, challenge these very norms. They remind us that international relations is not just about power or resources, it's also about ideas and rules that ensure predictability and cooperation in an interconnected world. A critical aspect of sovereignty is self-determination, the right of people to choose their own political status and future. This principle is enshrined in the United Nations Charter and numerous human rights treaties. Whether Greenland, Panama, or Canada, self-determination firmly places decisions about the future of a country in the hands of the people directly affected. Ignoring this principle risks eroding trust in international institutions and creating a dangerous precedent where power overrides consent. As climate change, resource competition, and geopolitical rivalries intensify, respecting sovereignty and self-determination becomes even more crucial. Trump's proposal may seem far-fetched, yet it highlights the ongoing tension between sovereignty, self-determination, and international norms, prompting us to reevaluate these foundational principles. It challenges us to think critically about the balance between state interests and the rules that maintain international order. But what do you think? Are these proposals merely strategic provocations or reminders of a bygone era of territorial expansion? Let me know in the comments section below, and if you enjoyed this analysis, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share Global Insights. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.